The first episode begins with the MC introducing Shirakawa Runa, the most beautiful girl in her year. Meanwhile, the MC himself, Kashima Ryudo, is a gloomy guy who can be found anywhere. From the day he was born 16 years ago until now, he has never had a girlfriend, and he has only a few friends. He and Runa seem to live in different worlds. As a gloomy guy, Ryudo can only admire Runa from afar. Yes, that's how it should be. But suddenly, the scene shifts when Ryudo is in a room alone with Runa, and Runa is trying to get intimate with him. The scene then shifts to the classroom, where a teacher is handing out questionnaires to the students. Ryudo is sitting alone, admiring Runa, who is in the same class as him. Ryudo overhears some guys behind him talking about Runa, as it turns out they also want to be her boyfriend, and rumors say that Runa changes boyfriends every 2 or 3 months. So they feel they still have a chance. Ryudo is used to hearing rumors like that, but he doesn't care because he feels it's impossible for him to get close to Runa. Then we are shown the classroom from another angle, with Ryudo sitting alone while there are many other students around. He tries to count the friends who want to socialize with him and finds that there are only Ichi and Nishi. 2 friends he considers gloomy, just like himself. Ryudo is surprised when someone greets him, and it turns out to be Runa. She greets Ryudo and asks to borrow a pencil while holding a questionnaire from her teacher. Runa fills out the questionnaire on Ryudo's desk while bowing her head right in front of him. With a red face, Ryudo looks at Runa and seems to be hypnotized by her beauty. Ryudo tries to snap out of it, wondering why someone like Runa would casually talk to someone like him. Ryudo then remembers Runa from when they were in the first year. She treated everyone the same way, interacting with others without discrimination. Runa finishes filling out her questionnaire, returns the pencil to Ryudo, and thanks him with a sweet smile. Runa leaves and goes home with her friends. For Ryudo, it was a very brief moment, but it was enough to make him fall in love. The scene then shifts to lunchtime, where Ryudo and his 2 friends are having lunch on the school rooftop. One of his friends, Ichi, talks about how he watched Ken's live stream, a gamer they all admire, until it ended. So now he feels tired from lack of sleep. The other friend, Nishi, almost arrived late for school because he was watching another gamer's live stream. Ryudo admires both of them for being able to keep up with Ken's videos, while he struggles to do so. But it turns out that Ichi and Nishi also feel overwhelmed because Ken chooses to stream when they are busy with exams. The announcement of exam scores is coming up soon, and Ichi and Nishi are very worried about their grades because if their grades drop, they will be banned from playing games and using their phones. Ryudo tries to reassure them both and says that he also lacks confidence in his exams. However, Ichi and Nishi didn't believe Ryudo's words and labeled him a traitor. Ryudo was puzzled by this. Suddenly, Nishi made a bet that whoever had the best grades among them would have to obey the commands of the person with the lowest grades. Finally, they received their exam results. Nishi and Ichi had very poor grades, while Ryudo received an excellent score, far above the 2 of them. Nishi promptly reminded them of their agreement. As the one with the lowest grades, Ichi immediately ordered Ryudo to confess his feelings to a girl he liked. Ichi continued, saying that if Ryudo confessed to the girl he liked, and since Ryudo was a gloomy guy just like him, he would undoubtedly be rejected outright. In this way, Ryudo would experience the same sense of despair felt by Ichi and Nishi. Ryudo was already in the park at that moment, and his 2 friends were watching from behind the bushes. In his heart, Ryudo thought that he could refuse his friend's request, but he considered his friends to be very precious to him. Without them, he might have endured school even more painfully. Besides, instead of harboring unrequited feelings for Runa, he decided it was better to eliminate those feelings by getting rejected by her. Before waiting in the park, Ryudo had already slipped a letter into Runa's shoe locker, hoping she would come. However, Ryudo was unsure if she would actually show up. Shortly after, it turned out that Runa did come to the park and approached Ryudo while making sure he was the one who had written the letter. Ryudo replied that the letter was from him. Runa then asked what Ryudo wanted to talk about. Ryudo felt extremely nervous about looking at Runa's face, and he was deeply amazed because Runa had been so friendly, even to someone like him. Ryudo gathered his courage to look at Runa's face, and she had a very sweet smile. From the depths of his heart, Ryudo confessed his love to Runa. Runa was surprised, but she tried to remain calm as usual. Then, Runa asked why Ryudo loved her. Ryudo answered that it was because Runa was very sweet. Ryudo couldn't bear his current situation any longer. He just wanted to disappear from there. Unexpectedly, Runa accepted Ryudo's confession. Ryudo was suddenly shocked and wondered if this was just a dream or if Runa was playing a prank on him. While Ryudo was contemplating this, Runa approached him unexpectedly. From a relatively close distance, Runa gazed into Ryudo's face and asked, confirming whether Ryudo would go out with her. Without hesitation, Ryudo answered yes. Runa acknowledged it and invited Ryudo to walk home together. Witnessing this unexpected turn of events, Ichi and Nishi, hiding behind the bushes, were left in disbelief. Runa and Ryudo were seen walking home together. Ryudo still couldn't believe he was walking side by side with Runa. While walking, Runa took the letter Ryudo had written earlier, read it, and asked Ryudo how to pronounce his name. Ryudo replied, Kashima Ryudo. Runa responded that it was a cool name. Ryudo blushed and tried to calm himself. Ryudo then asked Runa why she wanted to date him because, according to him, Runa didn't love him and didn't even know him before. Runa answered that she wanted to get to know Ryudo better and learn to love. She also said that she had a slight crush on Ryudo because he had confessed his love to her. Ryudo was surprised. It turned out that it was just because of that confession that Runa had a slight crush on him. Runa, on the other hand, felt a bit irritated because she didn't fall in love with just anyone. She had her own preferences. She didn't like men with long nails or men who let sweat accumulate under their noses. Ryudo was surprised again. It turned out that was the only reason Runa disliked some guys. Runa added that we should also feel happy if someone tells us that they love us. Ryudo thought that Runa viewed love too lightly. Runa replied that perhaps she started by casually saying, I love you, but over time, it could become genuine love. From that, Ryudo learned that the reason Runa dated frequently was not because she was popular, but because she accepted various declarations of love. With a sigh, Runa also stated that, up to now, she hadn't experienced true love. People thought Runa broke up often because she got bored, but in reality, it was the opposite. Runa took dating seriously. Even if another guy confessed to her while she was already in a relationship, Runa would immediately reject him. Finally, the two of them boarded the train together. There, Ryudo thought to himself that the rumor that Runa changed boyfriends every 2 or 3 months might be true. But Ryudo still didn't know and was curious about the real reason behind it. The train arrived at its stop, and Runa bid farewell to Ryudo and got off the train. However, Runa asked Ryudo to accompany her home. They both arrived at Runa's house. Ryudo said goodbye, but Runa invited him to come in for a while. Runa's parents were at work, and her grandmother was attending a hula dance class. The house was currently empty, and Ryudo accepted Runa's offer. Ryudo and Runa entered the house and went straight to Runa's room. Ryudo felt very awkward because it was the first time he had ever seen a girl's room. Runa hurried out of the room to make some tea, leaving Ryudo alone in her room. Ryudo began to have some strange thoughts. While looking around, he accidentally noticed a slightly open drawer, and its contents piqued his curiosity because it seemed to contain Runa's underwear. Ryudo really wanted to take a look, but his conscience told him not to. Eventually, he decided to peek just a little. His hand moved to pull the drawer open, and Ryudo saw what was inside. Happiness was evident on his face. However, suddenly, Runa opened the door and caught him. Runa saw the drawer was open and assumed that she had forgotten to close it. After placing the tea she had prepared on the table, Runa approached the drawer and immediately took something out. The item Runa took out turned out to be a camisole, which she had bought with her friends. Ryudo felt slightly relieved because it wasn't underwear. In his heart, Ryudo also promised not to peek at other people's belongings again. Runa then invited Ryudo to sit down, but Ryudo was confused about where to sit. The only place available was next to Runa on her bed. Ryudo had negative thoughts racing through his mind, causing him to stand there in confusion with a flushed face. However, Runa was thinking differently. She invited Ryudo to take a shower first. Ryudo was even more perplexed. But suddenly, Runa started unbuttoning her shirt. Ryudo couldn't take his eyes off Runa's chest, but he tried to snap out of it. Ryudo managed to gather his composure and asked Runa what they were going to do. Runa replied, "Isn't it obvious? Want to do something intimate, right?" Ryudo was once again shocked to hear this. Runa was also puzzled and asked Ryudo if he didn't want to do it. Ryudo inquired why they had to rush things, considering that they had just met. Runa innocently responded that all guys did those things when they were alone with their girlfriends. Ryudo replied that he valued their relationship and only wanted to do such things at the right time. Ryudo then asked Runa if she was so eager to do it. It turned out that Runa had never thought about it. She just felt it was an obligation and a normal part of being in a relationship. She believed that if a girl didn't take the initiative, the guy would look for another woman. Hearing this, Ryudo started to think that perhaps Runa had been frequently dumped by her previous boyfriends because they grew tired of her. This meant that the men who wanted to date Runa were only interested in her body and then left her. Runa asked Ryudo again if he didn't want to do it today. In his heart, Ryudo really wanted to, and he realized that this opportunity might not come again. However, he didn't want to act like Runa's past boyfriends. So, Ryudo firmly declined Runa's request. Later that evening, as they walked out of Runa's house, Runa remarked and considered Ryudo a serious person. Ryudo was different from Runa's previous boyfriends, and she didn't expect to meet someone like him. With embarrassment, Ryudo admitted that this was his first time dating and he didn't have any female friends because they didn't want him, and he was told to find another woman. Ryudo advised Runa that if she had been thinking about the things she mentioned earlier with him, it would be better to think it over first. He also didn't want Runa to consider it an obligation. Runa replied that maybe they would engage in intimate activities, but the right time would be when their love had become genuine. Ryudo patiently waited for that time to come. Although he had stated it with conviction, once he arrived home, he regretted his decision because he felt he could have done it with Runa earlier.